Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Today we are going to spend the day at home as I share with you a pretty normal day for me around the house. We have chores to get to, meals to make, homeschooling, presents to wrap, but first let's wake up the house. Before the kids wake up and start wandering in, I like to tackle a couple of things around the house. I feel like it just sets my day off really well, so I like to get a couple of things going, but first thing we get to is, of course, coffee. I usually set my coffee pot up the night before, or even possibly like the afternoon before, but I have it on a switch, so I don't usually have it on a timer for the morning. I like to just kind of keep the switch off, and then in the morning, before I get dressed or take a shower or anything like that, I usually will come in and start the coffee pot. So I did not end up getting to it the day before, so I am getting to it now. I've been trying out a couple different sugar substitutes in my coffee, so that's what I have in here now. And then I like adding a splash of creamer. My favorite is the Italian sweet cream, I think it's called. I don't know if that's available in like a sugar-free option, but I have been keeping my eye out for that. If you've seen it, let me know, because I'm not sure if it actually exists or not. I see all those options for the sugar-free, and I would like to switch to one of those, but this is my favorite one and I just have not found it. So I don't know if it's just not at my Walmart, or maybe it doesn't exist, or possibly it's just out of stock, but let me know if you've seen it. I'm usually so diligent about making my bed in the morning. I often talk about how this is something that's really important to me, because for the longest time, like 7 or 8 years, my husband worked night shift. So he worked a 12-hour night shift, and then he had an hour commute to and from. So he was gone like 14 hours a day. And because he slept during the day, I never ended up being able to make my bed. And it was something that really bothered me during this time, because I don't know what it is. It just feels like your house is so much more put together when your bed is made. However, lately, I'm not sure what it is, if I'm just tired from the holidays or what is going on, but I have been slacking a little and not making my bed as much. And I find that if I don't make it first thing in the morning, I don't make it at all. So I am trying to force myself to get up and actually do it, so I end up feeling a lot better, because it is something that for whatever reason does affect my mood. And of course, we have endless amounts of laundry to get to. So I am putting the laundry on my bed because it forces me at some point during the day, or at least before I go to bed, it forces me to actually fold it and put it away. So I often will put it on my bed or on the living room couch. And so I did put it there. I will not end up getting back to it in today's video, just because I felt like, one, I'm always sharing my laundry and you guys absolutely have to be tired of laundry like I am. And two, it would have been way too long of a video. So I did get to it, and I often will put it on my bed just to kind of force myself to get to it. But lately, since we have been back in town, we just have endless amounts of laundry. We were gone for almost a week, and it has just really piled up. So that is kind of what I've been focusing on, because we came back and it's like we had all this dirty clothes and we had basically nothing in our closets. So I'm trying to tackle all that. I'm switching over the loads and then putting in a new one to kind of just keep it going. After laundry, I got breakfast going and we jumped right into school. So that is what we're doing here. I do have the camera positioned because my older two do not often like to be on camera. So they're here, I'm talking to them, but they're just not on camera. I did think it was a little funny. So I often talk about how my daughter, she and my husband are very competitive. And so it was funny because today in today's lesson, my son Theo, he is starting math and he has a counting game. And my daughter immediately, whenever she finds out that anybody has a game, she is immediately like, can I do it? So she always wants to play the games with them. And so in a second, I'm kind of just going over what has to happen, how they play, and then I will hand that over because she really enjoys playing. However, she is so competitive that you often have to remind her during the game that she is playing with a little brother. So she can't be like she is with her father. My husband is super competitive. That is absolutely where she gets it from. And they go back and forth constantly. And it's funny because this little counting game, that's all they're doing is rolling the dice and adding and filling in the little squares. So it is such a little game, but it's funny because after this evening, it actually started a huge debate between her and my husband. And then they went back and forth for quite a while about, who won this basketball game or who wins most at soccer. And of course, they're just joking and playing around, but it is so funny to me as a very non-competitive person. And my other kids, they're pretty much the same as me too. I start to think if Lincoln, he might be kind of competitive, but it just is so funny to me to see them go back and forth. And it really, the thing that sparked it was this little addition game. While the kids were finishing up school, I jumped into the kitchen and I'm just kind of prepping a couple of things for lunch. I like to put out a couple little things that they can munch on, and today is just going to be a leftover day or whatever they can find, so it is not going to be hands-on at all for me. So what I'm doing is coming in here, I'm putting out some of the things on a cookie tray. I got out some trail mix. I did make this one trail mix just kind of on a whim the other day, so I put some of that out. I made some hard-boiled eggs. A lot of times, my older two in particular, they love having hard-boiled eggs for breakfast or lunch. Oftentimes they'll make, my daughter, she loves having soup of really any kind, and we have broth going, so a lot of times she likes to put a hard-boiled egg in her broth. So I went ahead and I made a couple hard-boiled eggs for them and just kind of set some things out before they come in and start doing their lunch. I shared a lot about this cookie tray and stuff like that. I believe it was in my last video. I got some of the shortbread cookies from Aldi, some other butter cookies from Walmart, and just a variety of things. So I just put it out, just kind of be a little festive, and then again to have the kids be able to munch on things here and there. They really love when I set this kind of stuff out. And if I was going to be 100% honest, I think I bought the butter cookies because of the tin. I thought it was so cute, and I love collecting these tins. You can often find them at like thrift stores and stuff. I have a really hard time finding them at mine, so I don't have too many, but I like keeping them on hand for being able to hand out Christmas goodies and stuff like that throughout the holidays. One thing I do throughout the day that I feel like most people do too, I think this is something that most households do, is kind of stay on top of the dishes if you're home. So I try to do that. That way I am not just overloaded with dishes come dinner time. You will see a little later in the video that my sink is completely full again, which I know is pretty normal for a household that is primarily home during the day. So I try to get to them as much as I can throughout the day. I might not in one swoop get them all, but I do try to come in whenever I have little breaks here and there, couple of minutes, and knock out as many as I can. So I am trying to do that now, and then usually before dinner I will try to get to all of the dishes, and then of course after, it's like laundry, it never ends in a home that is constantly moving. I think I mentioned in a previous video about my closet just being totally overrun with presents. We have a ton of people that we shop for. I have 4 kids. I have my husband. We have in-laws and cousins and aunts and my parents, my family, my brother. It's a lot of people. So my closet is currently just filled with gifts, and I need to start wrapping. So that is what we're going to get to today. And honestly, I love it. I've seen a bunch of memes too and stuff like that, where it's like the first couple gifts, you know, you're like, oh, this is great, you know, holiday season, yay, yay, yay. And then after those, you're like, oh my gosh, I hate wrapping. I generally don't mind wrapping. I feel like I like putting on a nice Christmas, movie, and I enjoy the quiet and wrapping. It doesn't really bother me, but come Christmas Eve, I actually do try to stay on top of it to where I don't have a ton of wrapping on Christmas Eve. But if I happen to have a ton of wrapping, that definitely is like, oh my gosh, like I'm so over it. And at that point, you just start slapping bows on it. But anyway, I am starting with some of my kids' gifts. They are all preoccupied. So one, I thought that would be a wonderful time to wrap some of their gifts. And two, I don't usually put all of the gifts out that I wrap under the tree until Christmas Eve, just for that like wow factor. But I do like putting a couple of gifts out beforehand, just so they can kind of sit there and wonder like what's in it. I don't know what it is, and I don't really know how to explain it, but the kids, they see like, oh, I have a gift under the tree, and then they kind of sit there and kind of guess what it is, and that is what they do. So I am starting with some of their gifts. The first one that I wrapped was a gift for my oldest son. He is really into all kinds of drawing and stuff, and he's really, really great at it. So he often will ask for different drawing utensils and things like that. We got him it was almost 200 pieces of an art set, which will, yes, be very great for him, but also my younger 2 boys, they often make all kinds of comic books and stuff like that. So I knew that they would also love it too. So that's what that was. And then I showed you that this was a Lego set. This one is a little larger than our other one, so I figured it would be a good set for Lincoln to have. Theo is still a little impatient with Legos, so we tried to give him the smaller sets with less pieces just so it doesn't seem so overwhelming for him. So this one was a little larger, so I'm going to go ahead and give that to Lincoln. Something that Theo has asked for at least 2 years now is a drone. He loves anything with a remote control. So we got him this drone this year, and I know that he's going to be so excited. He also got a couple of remote control cars. So he is going to be so busy driving around all kinds of things. One of his biggest things is so with the drone, I don't know, I'm not even sure about this one actually now that I'm thinking about it, but he has said for like 2 years now that he wants a drone so he can spy on Aubrey. I don't know why that's a thing, but I mean, probably just because he's a younger brother, but anyway, I'm not even sure if this actually records this one, so it will be a surprise, but either way, I know he is absolutely going to love it just because he loves anything with a remote. I shared this in my unboxing video, so I figured I wasn't going to share it again, but this was that shelf thing that I got for my husband for a display for his knives. So I'm just wrapping that up quickly. I like to also get to a couple of his because usually like Christmas Eve, we actually go to my parents' house and my brother comes in. He usually will have someone with him. And so we usually are pretty busy on Christmas Eve, and I try to wrap my husband's gifts ahead of time. That way I don't have to worry about him seeing them on Christmas Eve or anything like that. So while I am digging through the piles in my closet and trying to find the floor, I figured I'm going to go ahead and wrap a couple of his that I come across. So that was the first one. Gonna get that wrapped and going. I usually will have different kinds of wrapping paper, but this year I must have ran through all of it already, and I actually will have to go and get more from the store. So that is why I only have this one wrapping paper, but I do usually do a couple different ones. During my time on YouTube, I have discussed a couple of times Thrift Books. It's a website that sells books. They have new and used, and I love it. It is one of my absolute favorite websites. I like to read a lot, so I get almost all my books from there, and I even will tell my husband, like for the holidays, this is the book I want. Use Thrift Books, because one, I get points, and I often will get a free book from those points, but also they are just a couple of bucks on there for the used ones, and I don't know, I absolutely love that. And I am someone that really loves used books. I will get a used book before I will ever get a brand new one. So I got one of these books for each of the boys. I'm not even sure exactly how to say it, but I think it's Dory Phantasmagory. We have never read these books. However, I went on a hunt for Junie B. Jones kind of books that were a little bit older than Junie B. Jones. My kids, they all love Junie B. Jones. Even my older two, they love listening to me read Junie B. Jones. And this one came up, this whole series, as a series that is very similar to Junie B. Jones. So I have not read them yet, but I am really hopeful that they will all love this series too. So I'm just wrapping that. I got one for each of the boys. I did get books for my older two, but I don't think I ended up sharing those. In my unboxing video, I mentioned how I was really excited about my oldest son's present, and it's really hard to even get on video here, so I am trying, I promise. But this is a drawing tablet, and I am not really that familiar with them. I'm not really that good as a technology person, but I have heard of a couple of these, and my husband's also used to these with his line of works with like blueprints and stuff for houses. So he is familiar with these, but I did a ton of research, and we had discussed with all of the kids, what they wanted for their big gift. And my son, he really didn't have one. Everybody else was like, oh, I want this or I want that. My daughter really wanted a tablet. And we try to keep it around the same amount for their big gift. And he just really didn't have one, and he doesn't have a use for a tablet. He has all kinds of different systems and stuff like that. But I thought that maybe he does a lot of animation type of stuff and drawing online, and I thought that he would really, really enjoy this. So we're going to test it out. I don't even know how much he knows about them, but anyway, that was something that I looked up, and that is what my oldest son's biggest gift is. This is a projection lamp. I was like, what is this? This is going to be for my daughter. She loves all of those like different lights and stuff like that in her room. So I saw this and I figured she would really like this too. I got this on some Black Friday sale, I think on Amazon. It was a pretty good deal, so I ended up getting her one. The boys already have, they actually have a couple for their room, one that they use pretty regularly. And so I didn't really get one for anyone else. I got this different light thing for my son's room. But, I'm wondering, is it just my teenagers or other teenagers like this, where mine are really difficult? Like, they don't ask for really anything, which I know is a really wonderful thing. They hardly ever need or want for anything. And so, but for Christmas, it's like, well, I really want to be able to get them a couple things that they really need or really want. And, it is just so difficult finding stuff for my teens because they don't give me much ideas. This is the lights for my son's room that we thought. It is not just rainbow. He can set it on his phone and do like white lights or, traditional lights too. But he needed some new lights for his room. We are still in the process of redoing it. So he needed some new lights, and I figured he would like that. And I also figured he would like to be able to connect it to his phone and be able to change it that way. So those were what we got him. And then of course we got the lights for my daughter. But like I was saying, I feel like they are so difficult to buy for. You ask them what they want and they hardly give you any ideas. And so it's just, I feel like the whole time I'm just like, well, maybe this will be okay, which I know, it's not really about the gifts or anything, but they definitely are like that. They do not mind, not having a bunch of stuff. They are very minimalist when it comes to stuff like that. My daughter, she is 14, and so she wanted makeup and stuff like that, some decoration stuff for her room. She wanted clothes. My son, he turned 16 actually at the end of this week, and he wanted some clothes too, some decorations for his room. He likes getting some different figurines and stuff that he can display. He also likes doing more intricate Lego sets, and so he asked for those to be able to do and then display in his room. So we did little things like that. And then of course, like I said, we did do the tablets, and that one tablet, the drawing one, it is specifically a drawing one and it comes with all the drawing gear. But I think it does other things too. Like I said, I'm not very much a technology person, but I believe it's also like a traditional tablet, which he said he really didn't care about, but we will see. And if you have been here for a hot second, you know what time it is. So I am basically at the point in my day where I set an invisible timer in my head because my husband is about to get home. So I like to wait until, well, not necessarily. I do clean throughout the day, but for some reason, I play this like invisible game with myself, this make-believe game, where right before my husband is about to get home from work, I rush around the house like a chicken with my head cut off, and I do a bunch of different things to try to just get as much cleaning as I possibly can. I have no idea why I play this game, but that is currently what we're doing. So my husband is on his way home from work, and I am racing around the house and getting to all the vacuuming and just cleaning up odds and ends and just tidying up before I start on dinner. So that is what I'm doing here. And it's funny because I did all this vacuuming like right before. Sorry, my camera keeps going in and out. I think it just likes doing that from time to time. So you know what, that's just what it's doing. But it's funny because I did all this vacuuming specifically here in the kitchen, and he came home and immediately opened a bag of chips because I always say all the time that one of his biggest things is chips and salsa before dinner. So like while I'm making dinner, he eats chips and salsa, and tonight was no different. He came in and he got into the chips and salsa, and like a kid, he got a bunch of crumbs under these stools. And in my head, I didn't say anything, but in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did this whole competition with you without you knowing, and I just vacuumed up all those crumbs, and now there's more crumbs. So anyway, I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny, this whole thing. I don't know why I do it, but it just kind of cracks me up that I do this almost every day. Now that I have raced around the house, I'm going to be starting on dinner. This is a really simple dinner, and that was kind of my theme for the week. I mentioned that in my previous video. This week, I am keeping it very, very light, very easy, very quick. So I will be sharing in my Friday video the full recipe and everything. I only did kind of snippets in today's video, but I listed a whole bunch of recipes that I knew would be easy, knew would be quick, stuff that I could also prep ahead of time. So this was one that was very, very easy, so I did not really prep ahead of time. My daughter ended up choosing kind of the rotation of the meals. So I am doing what was it called? A Rotel pasta bake is what I had called it. This ended up being really, really good. Like, we barely had any leftovers because everybody really enjoyed this meal, and which is so crazy because it is insanely simple. So anyway, I'm trying to show you the diced green tomato, or not green, the diced tomatoes. This is like an off-brand Rotel. I feel like it's not as spicy, so I often will get this Walmart brand diced tomatoes with the chilies. So that is what I'm adding in here. I added in some seasoning, a couple of other really basic ingredients, and then once I get that all cooked through, I'm going to put it all in this casserole dish and bake it the rest of the way in the oven. Like I said, I'm not sharing the full recipe today just for kind of purposes of me also sharing it in my weekly video, but this recipe was super good. So if this is one that you're wanting to try out, I will have that in my Friday video, and I'll have the recipe available for you too. So I'm finishing that up now, but that is all I have for you today. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.